Just how I'm reading that situation. I'm gonna quickly get this motorized. We managed to push one province. We did it. National Guard Iron Wolf. The Lithuanian military has historically been a haven for right-wing thought, serving as a place of acceptance for nationalistic and authoritarian personalities. The most radical of them organize in the so-called sports club known as the National Guard Iron Wolf, or Geliznic Vilkas. While nominally allied with the the Lithuanian Nationalist Union, it is in truth loyal solely to Augustinas Voldemort, and many of its members are suspected to play a key role in the underground LAF. Serving as a unifying force for right-wing nationalist soldiers and officers, the Iron Wolf is difficult to define ideologically, aside for the generic national populist label, although they do have some unifying pieces of thought. The Iron Wolf's vision of a perfect Lithuanian state has been best expressed by one of the organization's chief ideologues, Cavalry Officer Juozas Tomkus. Tomkus. In the underground newspaper Tautas Kellius, the Weltkrieg, and the 2 years after have proven two things: that all wars from here on out will be won by not just arms and regular troops, but the mobilization of the entire nation for war, and that Lithuania is destined to end up at war eventually, and anyone foolish enough to believe that these are times of peace have no place in the country. The only way for Lithuania to survive is for it to become an army from the man in the front to the woman in the back, from the professor in the laboratories and the workers in the factories. Every single person and every single resource must be dedicated to national defense. Every single Lithuanian must be trained to wield a weapon and know his place in the armed nation. Such a nation will be completely unassailable and impossible to destroy. They're force attacking, no. Alright, I really want to start building some anti-air soon. Man, I've done so much reading. It's only March 1937. So you got some construction. Let's start doing some excavation. LAF changed tactics. The people of Lithuania have been experiencing nothing more than an utter reign of terror as the LAF have begun a new wave of terror attacks in cities and towns across the nation. While we have long questioned how and where they are getting their supplies and weapons, our intelligence has indicated that it appears that Russia is supplying them. While our intelligence has revealed that the LAF is not strong enough to topple our regime through a civil war, it is evident that the LAF is content with simply hampering the government and its reforms. The propaganda can be found in towns all around Lithuania with leaflets describing the severe faults and failings of the ruling administration. If they have genuinely chose violence to convey their message, then we may have to return with just as much violence to end their insurrection once and forever. For all they that take the sword shall perish by the sword. We now have to deal with their guerrilla activities. Fun. Right now they're a threat at 50%. Hiding in the dense forests across the country, the LAF insurgents are as deadly as they are elusive. Striking vital points of the country such as railroads and factories, they wage a brutal guerrilla war to protest our government's ties with the German Empire. With intelligence low on their whereabouts, predicting if the insurgents will attack or not will be a genuine strenuous affair. Okay, so we can counterinsurgency raid, which have a 50% chance of success. We can do this, which lowers the threat. Erode nationalist support. Or, let's see, we can do these for now. Let's start with... We'll start counterinsurgency raid and erode nationalist support. We'll start with that. Alright, back to Spain. We have no supply. I have no supply. Okie dokie. The King's speech. The King has been doodling architecture design since his coronation, appearing malcontent with his position. After an extended period of time in seclusion, the King has stepped up to announce a new program for a new year in the kingdom. We get King's Grand Plan and unlock Architect King decisions. Okay. Am I gonna build a house? Hawaii's joined the Reichspakt. Alright, we've got the port surrounded. Never mind. I've got another port surrounded. I'm taking Valencia. Never mind. Wait. Wait, the push is succeeding. Bro, my horse is gaming right now. Let's see. Lithuania in flames. Violence. Every day, the newspaper headlines scream nothing but the violence committed by the LAF. In the streets of northern Lithuania, the pavements run red with blood. The wolves of Voldemort have been roaming the streets, searching for their prey, their victims often being Poles. Their violence has even escalated to the point where the priests are becoming victims. A Polish priest gravely wounded after being beaten badly by members of the LAF. The Catholic organization Vytas grows militant by the day, angered by the military's inaction and protective of their priests. There are even rumors and murmurs that members of the LSS are also supporters of Voldemort, a grave indication that perhaps the LAF support base is more extensive than what was on paper. An old Polish general, Zeligowski, has been vocal in his demands for the government to take bolder action, or the Poles will organize and start defending themselves. LAF guerrilla activity takes 30 less days to time out. Okay. Well, I'm working on stuff. I'm trying my best. You should work as a narrator for Audible. I have to, like, actually get rid of my stutter to do that. I gotta speak coherently. Goose crisis! The ongoing economic crisis has hit few Lithuanian industries harder than the poultry industry. According to calculations in 1934, Lithuania exported up to 300,000 geese to Germany per year, and now these exports have ground to a halt. Faced with the threat of a complete collapse of the Lithuanian poultry industry, the so-called goose crisis, the government has chosen to enact an emergency solution. For the following year, all government officials, bureaucrats, and pensioners are required by law to purchase a specific amount of geese, depending on one's ranking within the bureaucratic apparatus and wage, at a minimum of 1. As proof of geese transactions, all farmers selling these birds have been required to sell them with numbered cards, which would then be turned into the government by the person purchasing geese. Although certainly an unorthodox way to solve the economic ills of the country, it has actually paid off somewhat. Magazines and newspapers are getting full of new goose recipes for the unfortunate bureaucrats. I don't even like geese. Shy E-boy. Oh no. Okay, now for the King's Grand Plan. News of King Vytas II's grand plan were quick travel across the nation, national press starting to speculate on the monarch's next move, only for everyone to sigh in disappointment when the day arrived. Having immersed himself in books of Lithuanian history during the past year, he came across the Palace of the Grand Dukes. It now stands before the Seimas, offering to dedicate the kingdom's resources toward restoring it. The Palace of the Grand Dukes was constructed in the 15th century to serve the monarch of Lithuania, and later on the Poland-Lithuanian Commonwealth. However, it stopped being a suitable residence for a monarch during the Swedish deluge in the 17th century, and was fully demolished after the partitions of Poland. Right now, the royal family of Lithuania resides in the Verkiai Palace, to the north of Vilnius, and though it is more than adequate for a monarch, the king has offered his services to the nation by designing a reconstruction of the Palace of the Grand Dukes, with an Art Deco touch, of course. Though the palace is a famous relic of Lithuanian history, the kingdom's resources are far from infinite. Thus, a debate has broken out between the king and his government on its sturdy size and feasibility, or study. Let's see what the prime minister has to say. I get 10 political power and loose stability. Well, I don't have anything to say right now, so we're going to go work on the economy. We can renovate Kaunas, can nationalize the construction industry, or establish unemployment benefits. I'm getting a sieve factory either way here. But that will give me a population, so we're going to start with nationalize the construction industry. The Lithuanian construction industry needs to be directed to work for the common man, not for the business owner. Nationalize these industries and use them to establish a series of public works projects across the country. I can do that. You can do it. Nationalize the industry. Do that. No. No. The answer probably should have been obvious from the get-go. King Daotus II may be a monarch of the Lithuanian people, but he does not have the right to waste their tax money on a massive vanity project which might not even be feasible with modern technology. That was not going to dissuade the king, however, and a close associate of his, as well as the Lithuanian ambassador to Sweden, Ignatius, proposed an alternative approach. None in Lithuania can deny that monuments are a source of national pride and identity, with many of them needing to be built or renovated. And it is not the duty of the monarch to be a patron of the arts, crafts, and culture. It will just so happen that the projects he gives patronage to, the king will have a hand in designing and providing advice to. Daotus II was ecstatic and ordered the patronage of the palace of the Grand Dukes right away. Wait, that's not what I meant. Our guy was like, no, I'm not going to fund your thing. I mean, like, you are a patron of the arts and you can totally do this yourself, but why are you looking at me like that? Oh god, what have I done? Alright, that's one pocket done. Oh, they don't have supply up here. Oh, it doesn't matter. I cannot hit that. Groundwork completed. The project for the new palace of the Grand Dukes has been designed and the groundwork has been completed. It will still take a long time for the palace to be completed, however, and the king has left himself a possibility to add or remove more features. In a private conversation with the Prime Minister, he's assured that the project has sparked his enthusiasm and all sorts of creative ideas are flowing through his mind every passing day. It remains to be seen whether the Lithuanian people will be endeared at hosting one of the most illustrious palaces in the modern era, or annoyed at their tax money being blown on such an expensive project. I heard it even has a movie theater. We get +5 to our legitimacy, but wait, legitimacy's not a thing? Huh? What? Wait, that's the wrong game. I can't believe I just boosted my legitimacy in HOI4, but I lost political power for it. I'm glad that I got my legitimacy to time travel back in time. Let's see, a successful raid. Units of the Royal Lithuanian Army have successfully captured a LAF hideout after a brief but intense shootout. Sadly, most of the terrorists managed to escape along with their stash of weapons, but the skirmish is celebrated as a victory nonetheless. -5 to their threat. Army remains neutral. Not great, not terrible. Okay. I unfortunately do not have enough command power yet. My war support isn't enough. That's not cool. I'm over here just to make this the worst front line ever. Industrial sabotage, so we lose some stability and some civ and infrastructure. I can fix that. I need more command power, damn it. I just don't know how to get it. Okay, now we're doing reform the law on the sickness funds. Needs to be reformed and its reach expanded to serve the foundation of all Lithuanian welfare state. A royal tutelage. It appears that the king's new tutor has been selected, being the young Salomeja Neris. She has grown renowned for her studies in Lithuanian folktales and their translation into German. This has allowed for Lithuanian folklore to be disseminated through the German-speaking world. Salomeja is seen as a perfect fit for the king and his peculiar habits. Others are hoping having the king being seen with female company will help dispel any rumors of their unmarried princess interests. The only concern regarding Salomeja is her rumored affiliations with the Ausrinnikai, a semi-formal syndicalist student union. Surely that's been checked. Uh-oh. Surely that's checked. Daotus gets assassinated. Minorities are harassed. Okay, they keep killing and harassing people, and I don't have the command power to do anything about this. We're doing a counterinsurgency raid. Eastern European cooperation. We got artillery for it. That's nice. Okay, we just cut off a whole bunch of these troops in Zaragoza, but I'm not sure if I'm going to hold. I did not. I tried. I'm not getting much supply, unfortunately. There's not really, like, railroads here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pull out so I'm not suffering all this attrition. Failed attack. The military command in Vilnius was utterly ecstatic today when the news of an actual victory reached them. It appears in their vain arrogance, the dogs of the LAF attempted to raid a small military outpost near Kaunas in broad daylight. They most likely intended to raid the base purely for supplies since they have been on the run and probably running out of fuel for their so-called insurrection. Striking the base foolishly, the defenders fired from fortified sandbag positions and towers, picking off the LAF forces like fish in a barrel. Finally, after substantial casualties, the LAF fled into the woods once more, but not before leaving behind their wounded and fallen comrades. News of the victory has reached the streets of all Lithuanian towns, with the military and government praised for their response. Finally, we have achieved great success, a testament to our government's strength and our military's loyalty to Lithuania. Good riddance. Get some political power for that. Very nice, very nice. Oh wait, there's my legitimacy. The passion of the king has always been art and architecture rather than governance. Away from political battles of the kingdom, he spends his time crafting increasingly complex projects which he, as the sovereign, can put into reality. Some see this as frivolous waste of time, others believe that it's an innocent enough program and should be allowed to continue. Whichever view of the king will prevail, only time will tell. But I need a lot of political power for that, and I really don't have it. See if we can't maybe sneak into Barcelona. Tutelage is paying off. As part of the king's lessons with Salomesia, the king has been exposed to the history of Lithuania. More recently, the king was moved by his recent lesson regarding the Polish-Lithuanian uprising that occurred in late 1830, dubbed the November Uprising. It appears the king has become fascinated by the young Polish-Lithuanian Countess Emilia Plater. Once he learned that she has been dubbed the Lithuanian Joan of Arc and how she led her people of different creeds and cultures against the Tsarist oppression, though to only die of a broken heart. Upon learning that Emilia was buried in the small town of Kapvat, the king set about drafting his project, being a monument to the Lithuanian Joan of Arc, though he must tread lightly as the effects of Black Monday are still ravaging the land and the people want chickens in their pots and not monuments. Oh, where is that, teacher? I mean, Mokitoja Okuria... that. That's as close as we're gonna get. I need more political power. Oh, I'm holding. I'm holding. I'm not holding. Help. Oh, I'm falling back. I think we're starting to get pushed. Wait, I need to hold that. I need to hold Tarragona. This has gotten really messy. Successful raid. Units of... Okay, so we got another one. So there goes the threat again. So they're at 30% right now. Hopefully that doesn't go too high. Okay, we renovated the city. We'll do that next to get some more stuff. I didn't even realize we were still actually suffering from Black Monday. I guess that'll get rid of it for us. Social economy. Okay, so they get a little more threat. They stole some of our guns, but that's okay. I will say, I think my favorite thing about Kaiserreich is the fact that I can send volunteers as any country. It really makes the early game go by, like, much more. Like, you actually get to do stuff, which is cool. Can't really do anything over here for now, though. I just keep getting stuff. This is great. All right, let us counterinsurgency raid, sweep the countryside. We'll do a counterinsurgency raid again, just see if I can't get that any higher. I guess for the counterinsurgency raid, it's more of like a, what's it called? It's like a chance, and while the other ones are more command power, but like, they're definitely going to remove 10 threat. All right, establish unemployment benefits. It is soul crushing that hardworking Lithuanian workers are left at the mercy of German bankers. It is our moral duty for the creation of unemployment funds for our local citizens, or loyal citizens. I also did this, bust agrarian monopolies. Throughout the 1930s, numerous farming conglomerates formed in the Lithuanian countryside, choking out small landowners with monopolistic practices. We must forcefully dissolve these monopolies. It'll increase overall productivity. Okie dokie. All quiet. They get +1 threat. Can't do that just yet, so we'll work on anti-air. See if I can't move up here. Bulgaria joined the... Oh, Bulgaria won! They did it! They actually won the Balkan War. Serbia is now super tiny and Montenegro is independent. Wow, that is actually going to change a whole bunch. With that out of the way, Austria now has a giant faction. Romania, I don't even think will do anything. Like, I don't know what they do after this. I guess they could try and attack Austria, but there wouldn't really be a point. Interesting. Let's see. Outer Lithuania Development Fund. We must establish a working relationship between corporations and business associations in southern Lithuania in order to provide recovery to its meager yet important industrial base. Get a civilian factory. Nice. And my other factory finished. Time to build a military factory. Yeah, there we go. Get a construction. Work on a new artillery piece would be nice. Oh, wow. We actually got quite a bit of a push here. But we're getting pushed back, which is not good. This is kind of going back and forth. Oh my god, I could actually go up to early mob if I wanted to. I think I'm gonna. No contact. Okay, got some political power. Arms factory attacked. That's not cool. Okay, I think the next one we're going to do one of these two. Okay, I'm probably getting pushed back here. An unwelcome visit. An interesting visitor has arrived to Vilnius today. Prince Wilhelm von Urach, the disgraced elder brother of Vytas II, has since pursued a career in automobile engineering. With the patronage of their late father and plentiful contacts, he received a job in Daimler Benz, both in the engineering department and as a scout for new places where the company may establish itself. Today, he seeks an audience with his brother directly, asking for assistance in convincing the cabinet to allow a large Daimler Benz factory to be established near Vilnius. The arrival of such a titan of German manufacturing would certainly provide a boost in revenue as well as a larger number of jobs for the unemployed. However, Lithuanian media will certainly pick up on the favoritism. Damn them, this is the good for the nation, or go away. Nah, go away. I want that legitimacy and that stability. Look at that. 20 legitimacy. I am legit. Wait for it. I think I could pull a sneaky on him. I could not. Oh my god, they were everywhere. Don't worry though, my horsey is holding strong. We're about to get rid of it. A social economy. The economy of the Lithuanian state has been reformed according to the principles of social democracy, and the people rejoice. We're going to remove Black Monday. We're going to throw it away. Wow, we are actually holding pretty well. Oh, my command powder's finally up. All right, we're gonna do. Gonna do a road nationalist support. No, we're not holding. Help. Wait, but we might encircle them in the mountains. Railway bombing. That sucks. That's giving them more threat. Wilhelm does not surrender. After being denied by his brother, Prince Wilhelm has begun searching for other opportunities. However, being disgraced in the country as well as lacking significant contacts outside the royal court, he has failed to gather any backers. Thus, Prince Wilhelm has returned to Germany empty-handed. The Daimler Benz does not give in on their attempts to expand into the east. Okay. Damn it. Let me in. Please, I want to take this. I want to cut them off. No. Damn it. No! It's right there! They're all just moving back and forth up there now, so I can't do it yet. Can I retreat into that province? Okay, please. I'm almost there. Yes! No! I didn't take it. Oh, but oh my god, it was actually a plan. Long road to pluralism. Elected by the people of Lithuania, the LSDP have sworn to make amend the nations... I'm going to try that again. Elected by the people of Lithuania, the LSDP has sworn to amend the nation's cultural split with national personal autonomy. We shall establish a system in which no ethnic group is advantaged and every ethnic group can have access to autonomous cultural affairs. We're going to get more political power, less stability, better construction and factory output, though, and tears among the left. I did it. I've cut them off in the mountains. Oh my god, they are actually going insane right now. That is really hurting. Lithuania weathered the storm. With Lithuania beginning to recover from the storm and tempest that was Black Monday, so has the people's trust in their king improved. Thanks to his very visible participation in many relief construction programs and other policies to help the commoners, Daotus has won some loyalty, especially among the poor. It seems that the king has the intention to continue with these large-scale public works even after the worst is over, despite worries from his cabinet that his grandiose designs will prove too expensive for the recovering nation. An architect king. God, he better be no Augustus. Well, our legitimacy is up at 25, so now I can actually start doing this stuff once I get more political power. Okay, I'm gonna pull out of this pocket for a second. Thankfully, that is definitely gonna die. The only issue now will be dealing with the Carolus. The death of Silvestras Zhukauskas. Our general is dead. Unfortunate. I was not using him, so it does not matter. The cult of Vytas the Great. Vytas the Great, one of the most famous Lithuanian monarchs from the 15th century, has always been a symbol of the Lithuanian fight for independence. He was anti-German and anti-Polish. He promoted Christianity, yet was tolerant towards other faiths and cultures. He was a staunch abstinent from alcohol. He was a great military tactician. Thus, he appeals to pretty much everyone in Lithuanian society. Already, there are annual celebrations during his death date, 500 years ago, October 27th, and the day where he should have been crowned king as king of Lithuania before his death, August 8th. An idea has been raised to promote this into a cult of the long-deceased Grand Duke, tying his image with the image of the government and thus using this cult of personality to strengthen the legitimacy of the government. Let's not do that. But we will start with the monument to Emilia Platar. This will give us some more legitimacy and give us an event. The Lithuanian cavalry goes crazy. Wait, what? Tears among the left. As much as the Social Democrats may want to claim that they have arrived here to reform Lithuanian society from its very foundation, this will be a task easier said than done. The election of 1937 has left the LSDP commanding a loose and fragile coalition of democratic socialists, Centara's secular liberals, the near-syndicalist Jewish Labor Bund, and the Polish minority. The Social Democrats themselves are not united in this direction. The old guard of the party, Karas included, have moderated severely during the post-war years, but not everyone followed this trend. A strong radical socialist faction, led by Vytas Galinis, Justas Palikis, and others remains. During the 1920s, the LSDP absorbed the Popular Peasants' Union, led by Mykolas Slezevicius, integrating a moderate, mildly social liberal faction into their caucus, and this caucus is close to a breaking point. The mere mention of Karas' sweeping reforms are agitating syndicalist sympathy within the party. Already, the LSDP is seen as a less than trustworthy force, and few believe that it has truly abandoned republicanism. Whether the Prime Minister will seek to destroy this radical influence or subjugate it and ride the way forward will unfold in years to come. We now get tears among the left, decisions. Let's hope for some semblance of unity remains. Fun. More menus. Let's see. Well, the LKPD... Okay, so you can start the revolution. I don't want to. Third International Propaganda. Commit to the Reichspakt. Encourage architectural cooperatives. Combat nationalist sentiment. And define the party programs. I mean, we're probably going to do this. But I have to be not Social Democrat to do that. I guess I should define the party program. Oh, I just realized we're all encircled. I'm pulling out. Not quite sure what happened there. Daimler Benzost. Daimler Benz Company has announced the creation of a new branch of the company, Daimler Benzost, whose stated purpose is to develop the company's first automobile manufacturing and establish new automotive plants in Germany's eastern provinces. Already, a deal has been signed to create the first factory in Memel. Rumors are floating that the company was initially planning to expand further east, but failed to strike a good deal with the Lithuanian government. They could have built this here. No, we're good. All right, first, we need to ban nationalist parties, so we're going to start with form cultural autonomies. The idea of national cultural autonomy rests upon granting each citizen a choice and each ethnic group autonomy in their own affairs. No longer will the government seek to impose a right ethnic identity or language. Lithuanians, Poles, Jews, Russians, and other minorities will each autonomously govern their own affairs. Oh my god, I got a military factory. I can actually start building AAA. That's artillery. That's not AA. Anti-air. I can't believe you are resident sleeping right now. In my house. Memory of Vytas Kardika. 1938 marks the 80-year anniversary of the birth of Vytas Kardika, one of the champions of the Lithuanian National Revival and editor of the newspaper Vytas, or The Bell, one of the two first newspapers printed and published in the Lithuanian language. During his 40 years of life, Kardika accomplished much in the name of the Lithuanian nation, most notably writing the hymn Tautitska Galesmi, which has since become the national anthem of Lithuania. Unlike his fellow patriarch of the National Revival, Jonas Basanavičius, Kardika has a much more defined political program. He believed that patriotism alone would not be able to revive the Lithuanian nation, thus it was the duty of their generation to educate the Lithuanian peasantry, improve their lives, and fight in the name of social justice. Though he passed away in 1899 before the independence of Lithuania could be established, his thought had a profound effect on Lithuania since. It is said that Vikans Mikevičius Kaspukas, a famous leader of Lithuanian radical socialists, chose his alias in honor of Kardika. His pen name was Kaspas, while Mikevičius was only Kapsukas, meaning Little Kaspas. On the other side of the political spectrum, right-wing Lithuanian nationalists also claim his memory for themselves. They note his stance against the Polonization and nationalist outlook. In honor of this anniversary, a statue of him, designed by the sculptor Vytas Gruby, is planned to be erected in Vilnius. At the same time, we are able to push through our own version of Kardika. By downplaying some facts about his life and exalting others, we can shape historical memory into a political weapon. What should future generations remember him as? Nationalist, social democrat, or syndicalist? No, it's social democracy. That's what we're looking for. Memory of the Constitution of May 3rd. May 3rd, the date when the Constitution of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was signed and declared in 1791, is one of the most important dates in Polish history, and ever since the foundation of an independent Lithuania. There has been pressure from the Polish-Lithuanian community to list it as a commemorated day here as well. It was the first constitution published in the Old World. While it was only in effect for less than a year, it had a profound impact on the political thought in the region, being the culmination of Enlightenment thought in Poland-Lithuania. However, while it is unquestionably important in Polish historical memory, it does not hold the same respect among Lithuanians. After all, it was the same constitution that sought to abolish the Grand Duchy of Lithuania and re-establish the unitary kingdom of Poland in its wake. And while this was prevented with the reciprocal guarantee of the two nations a few months after, it does not change the fact that the Constitution is seen as something foreign, rather than something Lithuanian as much as it is Polish. Regardless, the pressure to recognize May 3rd as a commemorative date remains. Should we cave into the pressure or maintain the line of thought that it is not a date Lithuania should commemorate? Nah. Nah, I'm good. Oh, I forgot about Russia. Russia really do be doing stuff, huh? Oh, my horsies are back. I had to get them out of the pocket, so I needed to leave, but now I'm back. Alright, so we formed our autonomies. We are going to ban the Nationalist Union. What is the point of fighting off these nationalist agitators if we do not dare strike at the root of the disease? The Nationalist Union is obviously a cover for nationalists to hide behind, and a democratic Lithuania does not heed them. Yeah, let's kill them. Let's just remove them. Oh, we can commit to the Reichspakt now. By having members of our coalition explain that our coalition remains committed to a lasting friendship with Germany, we can downplay rumors of our radical turn. Yeah, let's do that. I unfortunately can't do anything else until that other project is done, so we will combat nationalist sentiment, I think? Or let's define our party program. On the question of our party program, if, in 1921, we could declare in our program this, the socialist revolution taking place across the world and the victories of the proletariat elsewhere will lend support to Lithuanian workers and show the path to a new future with their example, then today is not the time to express this hope too far. Not because this hope could be miscalculated or anything, or wrong, but because the Lithuanian workers need to first be able to trust each other and forge their own future. The events of the last decade only remind us that those proletarian victories are permanent, which the people managed to not just acquire, but maintain. The working class in Lithuania will only be able to take over and establish socialism when the economic conditions of the country place us to proletarian lines or tie the majority of the population to them. When this majority becomes a willing supporter of the socialist agenda. Those were the words written by Steponas Kairis in 1929, defining and specifying the ultimate goal of the Social Democratic Party, democratic socialism. Needless to say, now that it has actually come to power and has been forced to ally with liberal democratic parties, this policy has come under serious question. Is it time to abandon evolutionary Marxism and finally join the ranks of the capitalist parties, or is a socialist utopia still our final goal? This gives us radical socialism, which gives us long road to pluralism, to less stability but better political power, or our goal shall be to lessen the horrid effects of capitalism, not abolish it. No, that's cringe. We're going Vanguard. I mean, we're still going to try and say social democratic, but like, you know, I want those buffs. Let's see. National personal autonomy. I need another drink. Immediately upon the results of the election in 1937, Steponas Kairis, the new prime minister of Lithuania and head of the Social Democratic Party, muttered the immortal words, Now we have work to do for a long time. His opponents immediately took this as a prediction that Karius will try to stay in power as long as his health allows it. In truth, however, what he was referring to was the structural reforms which he and his party hoped to undertake. The Social Democratic Party of Lithuania professes the ideal of national personal autonomy. First formulated by Otto Bayer in 1907, it remains the prevailing ethnic policy of the Austro-Marxist movement, which the LSDP borrows most of its ideas from. What it seeks to achieve is to turn the nation not into a territorial and ethnic entity, but instead a simple association of persons, disjoining the state from its territory. After all, what says that to a Lithuanian you need to live specifically in this plot in Europe and follow a specific set of traditions? As long as you believe yourself to be Lithuanian, hold Lithuanian citizenship, and contribute to the nation, either through taxes or through other ways, what stops you from being considered Lithuanian? A similar view espoused by many Bundist Jewish ideologists and thus turned to the Social Democrats, and the Bundists into natural allies. During their term, the government of Prime Minister Stepanas Karius will seek to undertake significant reform to achieve their ideal of the national personal autonomy. Each ethnic group in Lithuania will have their own universal cultural assemblies with the ability to levy their own taxes and autonomously decide on matters pertaining to their members. Every citizen of the kingdom would belong to one of these cultural assemblies, but the question of which national movement to join would be a matter of personal choice, and no authority would have any control of this decision. Of course, these reforms will coincide with the LSDP's other policy programs, such as the swift establishment of a welfare program system and taking out of the right-wing opposition, mostly through legal methods. Svarbiausia, Darbos Amogus. Hi there, unknown D-Data. How's it going? Oh, I've summoned Lithuanian? Oh. Well, welcome to the Lithuania game, where I sit with my cavalry division over here in Spain, and we do the story time. Currently on story time, we are banning the nationalists. But, welcome to the stream. Also, I apologize in advance for all the names I'm going to be saying wrong and have already said wrong. This is not my strong suit. The Grinorii. With the American Civil War ravaging the continent, many have left for Europe and returned to their ancestral homelands. While Lithuania has not been a beacon of stability in the past months either, some refugees have found their way here. As they do not have connections, and some younger ones do not even speak Lithuanian, they are integrating slowly. This problem will only be solved by government intervention. Those poor souls. Am I planning to unite the Baltic? I don't think so. Honestly, I'm just kind of riding the wave, and we're just going to see what happens at the end of this. All I know is I'm going to be teaming up with the Germans, because I'm always upset when Lithuania just decides to do their own thing and immediately gets bodied. But, like, the game is, like, ruined because of it. So we're just going to, like, just try and do our best to win the game. So I don't know if that means we'll just be Lithuania. I mean, we were talking earlier, I apparently have a way to annex Ruthenia, which I don't know how to do yet. And that could be cool. But for now, we're just vibing. Jewish cultural autonomy elections. The idea of a national personal autonomy posits the state should intervene as little as possible in cultural and ethnic affairs, and instead hand over power over their fields to autonomous communities, who lacks territory and are instead a congregation or a syndicate of persons who associate themselves with that ethnic group or on their own accord. These autonomous ethnic communities would be able to levy their own taxes, establish their own education programs, and, of course, elect their own leadership. Today, elections are held in the cultural autonomy of the Lithuanian Jews. Though superficially dominated by the Jewish Labor Bund and their electoral lists, the Lithuanian Jewish community is highly ideologically varied, and while socialism is highly prominent among them, the Liberal Volksparty and Orthodox Jewish conservative Agudat Israel gather a lot of support as well. The results of the election are sure to shape the Jewish cultural autonomy for years to come. So that gives us stability. Ah, shit. Let's do the Bund and the Volksparty, because that gives us better boss, because we get more political power, factory output, construction speed, whereas that one would hurt. So the Bund and the Volksparty achieve a majority. Alright, we are holding Tarragona. Kapshiamietstis, the first surprise of many. Well, with the monument completed, the king has drawn his inspiration from the Polish artist Jan Rosen in his depiction of the young countess. The monument has a young Emilia Plater wearing a military uniform of the era, holding a banner upon a horse. The pose of the young maiden appears to be one of motivating an invisible army onwards in the heat of battle. A small plaque is at the base of the monument and transcribed in Lithuanian, Polish, and German. The king has given a speech at the opening ceremony, though it was mainly in German with several interpreters in the crowd assisting in conveying the king's message. After the ceremony was complete, a small contingent of Litvaks, led by a rabbi, approached the king and his entourage. The rabbi, speaking in fluent German, requested if any funds could be spared to complete the repairs for the local synagogue. The king found himself enjoying a rare moment where he was taken aback twice within a few seconds, as he was curious how the rabbi knew the project went under budget and by the fluency of his German. One of the king's entourage went to speak to the rabbi, with the king agreeing to give a small donation to the rabbi for his synagogue, and then asked the rabbi where he learned to speak German so well. Really? In Berlin? Did you enjoy the architecture? It gets some legitimacy. You're not sure if the first word exists? Oh. Okay, so I'm not gonna feel as bad if I get it wrong then. Okay. I get scared, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna say these right or if I'm gonna say them wrong. But please, oh, the Germans got bodied. Okay. If there are words that are actual words, and I pronounce them, then I'm very sorry. All right, let's see. Finish that. Finish this. Further lessons. You said the worst word possible. Ban him. No. What word are you even talking about? Please don't say Sugma. Further lessons. Further inspirations. As the king continues to receive further lessons from Salomeja, his knowledge base in Lithuanian history has expanded tenfold. From the Battle of Grunwald, where a Polish-Lithuanian coalition brought the Teutonic Order to its knees, to the Lithuanian book smugglers who risked their lives to smuggle in contraband books written in Lithuanian during the times of the Tsar. The king knows it would be foolish to express his interest in further projects, knowing that with Black Monday now hampering his kingdom, he will have to wait till Lithuania weathers the storm. These lessons have seemed to have rejuvenated the king in his efforts to prove himself to his subjects, though some grow concerned that Salomeja and the king are getting a little too close, with the king and Salomeja's private lessons appearing to go on for longer and at odd hours. Many see it as a blessing that the king is taking an active interest in the history of Lithuania and its people. Though didn't the king's brother fall for a commoner? Does that matter? Does that really matter? Is that really what we're saying right now? That really matters? Let's see, if I do this, I get a research slot. Let's do that. Freedom of choice. To implement our idea of national personal autonomy, we must just join our citizens from the shackles of territory and grant them a choice of which ethnic assembly they seek to join. The choice will include their own choice on the language they use to communicate with the government, the schooling program of their autonomous assembly, and democratic elections to the leadership of each assembly. Wait a minute, I can actually choose? That's not a democracy. I need more command power, damn it. The threat goes up like every little bit, and I can't really do anything about it. I have a feeling that the Kingdom of Spain might actually lose this to the Carlists for some reason. Just like the amount of troops that the Sintfe are still making is kind of scary. Polish cultural autonomy elections. The idea of a national personal... Oh, wait, this is just the Polish one. Which has... So we can either do the right wing of the KPL or the left wing. We're going to do the left wing, because that gives me more points. If I feel like it's treading the same exact ground, I'm not going to read it. I would like to preserve my throat. The liberals expressed their worries. Our ongoing turn towards radical socialism has started to alienate our moderate allies in the coalition. Members of the Democratic National League, Freedom League, Santara, including its leader Stasys Silingas, has spoken before the Seimas expressing their worries with some of the recent actions of our government. They have issued a call for the coalition allies to reconsider their position. The conflicts between the moderate and radical forces in our coalition have been more dramatic off-screen, and the stability of our coalition has become tenuous. We must make a decision to salvage our coalition government one way or another. Fine, we'll find a way to appease the centrists for now. Right-wing complaints. Stop giving me all these missions, please. We could break up Centaura and just remove the liberal. We just kick them out. We can make peace with them. We can combat... Oh, that's all the other stuff. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just break it up. I don't need them. I don't need them. I do not need them. Unfortunately, I have done nothing to upgrade my army, so they're not the best. Memory of the January Uprising. 1938 marks the 110-year anniversary of the birth of Antanas Makavicius. I'm so sorry. A Lithuanian priest and one of the leaders of the Lithuanian rebels in the January Uprising of 1863. Though traditionally seen as a Polish uprising against Tsarist rule, it gained significant traction in Lithuania as well, where it coincided with peasant unrest over an unsatisfactory abolition of serfdom. It is considered to be a turning point in Lithuanian history, while the uprising in Lithuania still hoped to join Poland in a federation. The Lithuanian national revival, which sparked it for years after finally disjoined Lithuanian national identity from that of Poland, and turned these nations from comrades into enemies. Antanas Makavicius, that's how I'm pronouncing it, and other Lithuanian members of the January Uprising, while still supporters of a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, had a far more concise national identity than their brethren in the decades beforehand. At the same time, for uprisings fought for social justice, the rights of the peasantry, and other radical ideas, which has made it an inspiration for the Lithuanian socialist movement in the years after. In an independent Lithuania, the movement and the November and January uprisings are commemorated by Polish Lithuanians as a means of expressing the centuries-long connection between the Polish and Lithuanian nations. Now they seek to fund a memorial in Krekenava, which alongside that would commemorate other leaders. Okay. It could prevent the memorial from being raised to honor... we could let us not forget he was a devout Catholic, or was the first revolutionary socialist. Yeah, he's the first revolutionary socialist, of course. Let's see, we can now do a memorial to King Nasiai Memorial. The king has learnt of the humble book smugglers. Oh, the book smugglers. After much discussion, planning, and obtaining the blessing from the church, the king has elected for the memorial to be part of the renovation to the Church of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary located in Palenga. During the Weltkrieg, the church survived mainly intact with little work required to restore it, though people are confused on why the king selected this church, as its brickwork was completed in 1907. It appears the king has been captivated by the church's neo-Gothic design and that it was designed by a foreign architect. Carl Edward Strandman, as the king and his growing cohort of architects were surveying the church and where the memorial would be located, the king was advised that a Prussian Lithuanian of the name of Vytas has petitioned that he and some other Prussian Lithuanians be included in this project. They state that are as much part of their culture as it is the Lithuanians. The king has been put into a difficult position as Vytas is a known supporter of the Prussian-Lithuanian nationalism, and accepting his inclusion in the project, he could risk angering the Kaiser and promoting regional nationalism, bringing with it the painful reminder of the November Uprising, and also cause the project to take longer due to their input. Though, on the other hand, alienating the Prussian Lithuanians would be viewed poorly by the kingdom and further strain the ties between Prussian Lithuanians and the kingdom. We get more legitimacy for doing this, though, so I think I'm gonna do it. Alright, freedom of choice has been selected. We can now do autonomous cultural taxation. As dictated by the idea of national personal autonomy, all cultural assemblies in Lithuania need to have the right to levy their own taxes upon their members. In order to fund their own education programs and cultural activities with no intervention from the government, it is about time we saw this idea through. Big Victus Concert, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the stream. How's it going? Oh, and this is gonna give me a research slot and no cultural divide. Unknown D-Data, thank you for the follow. Hope you are all enjoying this fun story time of architecture and socialism. Let's see. Grand opening. Daimler Benzost has officially begun operations, and the first automotive plant in Memel is already bringing dividends as well as employing hundreds. The day before the opening, Prince Wilhelm made a call to his brother from Lithuania Minor, explaining that he is disappointed in the decision and his bosses are not going to think highly of Lithuania from now on. A week later, the first scathing news report from the media came, complaining about the missed German investment opportunities, which have now been funneled over the German border. F. Anarchists? No, we're just social democrats. Yeah, we're just social democrats. We're vibing. We are big vibe democrats. The long, Litvins, tutelage, and others. The long and extremely complicated history of the region, which now forms the Kingdom of Lithuania, makes it a complete and utter nightmare for those familiar with rigid, separate nationalities. Years of numerous ethnicities living under the same Grand Duchy, and the memory of this construct lasting long after 1795, have formed various mixed, hard-to-classify groups within our territory. Though the Lithuanians are a Baltic people, that does not mean that all who declare themselves to be Lithuanians speak the language. Centuries of cultural proximity and unity under a single nation have left many Belarusian-speaking peoples, especially aristocrats and intellectuals, identifying with Lithuania as their homeland, seeing it not as a nation-state, but as a multicultural union of various nations, cultures, and languages. These people are known as Litvins. Can you look at Turkey? Yeah, sure, we can look at Turkey. Right now, they are military government, paternal autocrat. They haven't done anything yet, though. Meanwhile, Najd and Hassa and Jamal Shamar are not having the fun time down there. I'll just leave them over here in the corner while we read the rest of this. Many people in the Vilnius region, especially the poorest peasantry and proletarians, do not define themselves with any specific nation at all. Living in such a hub of numerous languages and cultures, they do not consider themselves to be part of any one, speak a mix of Belarusian, Lithuanian, and Polish lingo known as Mowa Prosta, or Mova Prosta, and are known as tutechi, or locals, as they would declare their nationality to be in the census data. For the longest time, Lithuanian census has defined peoples by their native language and avoided the nationality question entirely for this specific reason. But because of internal pressures to start including nationality in census data, we'll have to decide on how we wish to treat Litvins, tutechi, and other difficult ethnic groups. They're all welcome. Abdulhamid, yep, unfortunate. Fun equals fantastic use now. German, Guten Tag, yep. Oh, I just realized the Germans went socialist as well. Or they went social democrat. So we're actually on, we're on the same team here. They unfortunately didn't. Or fortunately, I guess. East Slavic Cultural Autonomy elections. We are going to go with the Belarusian Peasant and Workers Union. The year 1938, but German Empire live. Yep. Just give it like another year and a half. I feel like that's when things will start to change. Now, as an aside, I'm going to start equipping my my cavalry with anti-air. My tanks, my cavalry. We might be going for an all fun cavalry army. Actually, we haven't looked at the we haven't looked over here at all. All right, so we have Patton, Syndicalists, a pretty strong American Union state, and the Pacific states. The Empire of the Republic of Germany. It's like, how many like different ideologies and identities can you put in one title of a country? The Social Democratic People's Monarchy of Imperial Russia. 2. The Socialist Republics. the Voldemort stronghold. Today brings us a major victory, as our forces have captured a major LAF weapon stash. The well-hidden cellar was found after light coercion of the local peasants, which gave us all the information to assault the hideout and capture most of the terrorist cell. With further investigation, the stash proved to be filled with Russian small arms and homemade explosives, and even some light mortars. This should harm the LAF efforts in mounting further effective attacks against us. Well done! Federation of Russian Socialist Empire. Yeah, that's definitely one way we can put it. How about the American Union Pacific States of Combined Syndicates of the United States of America? We'll put that all together. All right, we can now let us legalize the Ausserien. The Morning Star is a syndicalist magazine that is quite popular amongst intellectuals and poets who call themselves Ausrinkai. It was banned in 1923 due to its syndicalist agenda, but it led to a radicalization of its members ever since. By legalizing it, we could attempt to de-radicalize the followers. Okay. Do I know why World War I started? It was this little goober. This little goober down here. I mean, it was a bunch of other stuff, but like this guy. It is actually just super weird looking at Serbia being this small and having nothing to do with it. I am perfectly innocent. It looks like Austria went down the left path. I think they're on status quo. Because they didn't do their war with Hungary. How's it going in Spain? Holding hands across the Niemen. The project ran longer than expected due to Vytas and the other Prussian Lithuanians' inputs on the memorial. The king of Vytas came to a disagreement regarding Vytas' insistence on including references to Lithuania's old pagan religion within the memorial. Eventually, cooler heads prevailed as the Lietuviskas Kryžius, or the Lithuanian cross, was agreed upon to be included in the memorial. To the surprise of the king, Vytas stated that both Germans and Lithuanian within the memorial to highlight the link between the two cultures. The opening of the memorial went off better than expected, with people from both sides of the Niemen attending the ceremony. During Vytas' speech, he made mention that this memorial should be the first of many projects that Prussian Lithuanians and Lithuanians undertake together, and that the memorial also represents the two groups holding hands across the Niemen in unity. The last part of Vytas' speech was controversial to say the least, and has brought the ire from Berlin down on the king, who has been kindly reminded by his council of where his loyalty should be. All right. Okay, we're gonna do another counterinsurgency raid. These are just faster. It's harder to build up the proper command power to get some of these. If I actually built up my military, that would probably help.